You know, for most of human history, our day ended when the sun went down. Simple as that. But then, in the 19th century, a revolution started. And this wasn't a revolution with armies and flags. Oh no. This was a war fought with wires, with filaments, and with pure, brilliant genius. It was a war to conquer the night itself. So this is the story of that war. The war against the dark.
I mean, it's a huge question, isn't it? Because you're not just fighting against, an absence of light. You're fighting against an entire way of life. You're fighting against old technology and these incredibly powerful industries that have a complete monopoly on the night. So to win, you need way more than just a bright idea. You need a full-blown revolution.
And this cartoon right here, it just captures that whole revolution perfectly. See, before, our world was lit with the simple flip of a switch. The night was ruled by gaslight. And here, the old guard, the gas industry, is literally being chased into the shadows by this new, powerful force, the electric sun. A technological war was about to kick off, and believe me, it was going to change everything.
Okay, so to really get what a huge deal this was, we've got to look at the world before electricity. We have to understand the old empire. And back in the 19th century, the undisputed king of the night was gaslight.
I mean, for thousands and thousands of years, progress in lighting was, well, it was painfully slow. We went from basic oil lamps and smoky animal fat candles to slightly better oil lamps. And then suddenly, everything just exploded. By 1807, you had the first gas streetlights lighting up London. And just a few decades later, gaslight was the absolute peak of modern tech, illuminating cities all over America and Europe.
And you got to understand, gas wasn't just some tech. It was this massive, powerful industry. We're talking about huge manufacturing plants, thousands of miles of pipes buried right under the city streets, and a complete monopoly on light. And as you can see from the outrageous gas bills, they weren't exactly beloved. They basically owned the night.
But a new challenger was starting to step into the ring. It was a force of nature that had fascinated people for decades, but it was still seen as this wild, kind of dangerous, and totally untamed force, the electric spark.
So the first real shot at turning electricity into light, that was the arc lamp. The idea was actually pretty simple but brilliant. You pass a powerful electric current between two carbon rods, and you get this sustained, incredibly bright arc of light. It was so powerful it was like having a tiny sun in the street, which made it perfect for lighting up huge open areas like city squares or factories.
So the arc lamp was a real contender for lighting up public spaces, but it was a terrible house guest. I mean, you would not want one of these things in your living room. It was way too bright, it hissed and buzzed, it could be smelly, and the carbon rods that fueled it burned out all the time. So yeah, electricity had potential, for sure, but it was still wild. It hadn't been domesticated yet. The war for the home hadn't even started.
All right, and this is where a name you are definitely going to recognize enters the picture. But Thomas Edison wasn't just trying to invent a better light bulb. He was thinking way bigger. He was figuring out how to build an entire system that could kick the whole gas industry off its throne.
In this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of Edison's genius. He knew that just having ideas, that was the easy part. The real work, the hard part, was what he called the long, laborious trouble of turning an idea into something that was practical, reliable, and affordable. Something that could actually go head-to-head with the competition.
See, this is why Edison ultimately won. He didn't just go off and invent a light bulb. No, he invented an entire electrical ecosystem. He created a solution for every single part of the puzzle. A better generator for the power, safe wiring to get it to your house, a reliable bulb that could last for ages, and maybe most importantly, a super simple way for anybody to use it.
And just look at this tiny detail that we totally take for granted today, the screw socket. This little thing was revolutionary. Before this, if your light went out, you had to call an electrician. Seriously, Edison made it so easy a kid could do it. He was building a user-friendly system from the ground up, all designed to beat gas at its own game.
And on this day, September 4th, 1882, the war officially kicked off. Edison flipped the switch at his Pearl Street power station, and suddenly, the offices in Lower Manhattan were glowing with this clean, steady electric light. This was the proof of concept. It showed that a central electric system wasn't some fantasy. It was the future. And the gaslight era? It was now officially on borrowed time.
Okay, so just when it looked like electricity was about to claim victory, a new war broke out. And this time, it wasn't electricity against gas. It was a civil war, fought right inside the electrical industry itself.
This, of course, was the legendary War of the Currents. In one corner, you've got Thomas Edison defending his direct current, or DC system. It was pretty safe, but its power just couldn't travel very far. And in the other corner, you had the brilliant Nikola Tesla and the powerful industrialist George Westinghouse. They were the champions of alternating current, or AC, which could send power for hundreds of miles, but it had to be at dangerously high voltages.
Now, Edison was all in on his DC system, and he launched this absolutely ruthless PR campaign to convince everyone that AC was deadly. I mean, this got ugly. His team staged public electrocutions of stray animals, all using AC power. Edison even promoted using AC for the first electric chair, forever connecting his rival's technology with death in the public's mind.
But in the end, you just can't fight physics and economics. They won out over the fear campaign. AC was just way too efficient to ignore. The real turning point came in 1895, when Westinghouse used Tesla's AC tech to harness the incredible power of Niagara Falls. He sent electricity all the way to Buffalo, something that was totally impossible with DC. And just like that, the debate was over. AC had won.
So, with the wars finally over, a unified electrical system started to spread like wildfire, and it didn't just light up the night. It completely remade our world.
I mean, the impact was just staggering. All of a sudden, the workday wasn't tied to the sun anymore. Factories could run 24/7, which just supercharged the whole industrial revolution. Cities came alive at night, creating whole new economies around nightlife and entertainment, and workplaces became so much safer without the constant risk of fire from all those open gas flames.
But here's the thing. This revolution didn't reach everyone at the same time. Not even close. Just look at this chart. It shows a really stark divide. Even as late as 1940, electrification was mostly a city thing. So while pretty much everyone in the city had electric lights, nearly 2/3 of American farmers were still stuck in the age of kerosene and gasoline lamps. It was like they were living in a different world.
And you know what? The same exact story of uneven progress played out across the entire globe. The battle for light that started in a few city blocks in the 1800s is still being fought. Take a look at the world back in 1994 on the left. You see all those huge pockets of darkness across Africa and Asia? Now jump forward just 2 decades to 2014 on the right. It's a dramatic difference, right? You can literally see the progress spreading across the world.
And yet, even with all that progress, the war still isn't totally over. As recently as 2014, 15% of the entire world's population, that's over 1 billion people, were still living completely without electricity. The fight that Edison and Tesla started is, believe it or not, still one of the defining challenges of our time.
So this battle for light, it reshaped our world in ways the inventors couldn't even have imagined. It was one of the greatest technological victories in history. And that kind of leaves us with a big question for our own time. When you look at the challenges we're facing today, what is the next great energy war that we absolutely have to fight and win?